It's about finding someone who respects their need for emotional autonomy while being willing to navigate the occasional storm together. But this type of woman is hard to find in this society. So, they choose to keep themselves detached from women until they find a real one. Number 4. They do not want to be controlled. Some women use sneaky tactics to take charge.
They not want to be controlled. And you're talking about what you think a man wants. There's a bunch of manipulation involved. Everybody want this guy talking about tactics. It's manipulation. A woman got a cousin, got a everything in the air. She don't know how to follow. There's a bunch of manipulation going on in this world. You think you know what a man wants. You sure that I don't know what I want. And that's the concept. Everybody talk about what somebody wants and think you know what somebody wants. But that's not the concept of what somebody wants.
But Sigma males refuse to be part of the facade. Sigma males know the ninja trick of boldly detaching from the webs of emotional entanglement in a relationship. The reasons behind their deliberate detachment from women are as complex as they are brave. In the words of a wise character from a classic movie, The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, sometimes you have to be your own hero, because sometimes the people you can't live without can live without you. This sentiment resonates with the Sigma male's mentality.
I'm going to tell you something. Something was going so great when I was a teen with me and somebody. But jealousy, cousins, little nephews, cousins started telling, the bond started to get harder when people started interfering. And when you're a teenager, when it's just us, her little brother, I didn't have it that much. It's the manipulation. It's the jealousy. You got to understand the concept of the mindset of others. It's the jealousy in the spirit what a woman has. You know what I'm saying? And with those things that cause the problem of the relationships. If you're a teenager, whatever what you go through, if we talking about, you're talking about something you don't know. If if let me tell you, something. I had to go through a lot where Sabina dad said something to me and didn't even know me. And once they started coming around when I was a teen, I had a job. Me, the concept of a man that like to throw stuff and don't understand what that concept is will get that way. It's all about what everybody else dreaming of. You can't tell her where manipulation and people in people ear and that because everybody trying to learn from somebody. That's the definition of what we got in this problem. Everybody trying to learn from somebody. A man, let me tell you, a man don't got a problem with a woman can't take control, but a woman want to define that control. It's about intimidation, bullying. It's about, oh, you do what I. It's not about they don't even, I worked in the Walmart. It's not about the growth that comes with it. It's about keeping you where you at today. I worked at Walmart. I'm going to tell you something. I'm doing a great job. And one time the dude that like trying to say, we got to put you down one time before because you're going to start feeling yourself. It's the mindset of others. A woman is the same way another man thinks. All of them got their picky ways. And you're trying to find a way. You're dealing with different mindsets. And each and everybody is finding different picky mind. You're dealing with a billion personalities. And that comes in with those things when you're dealing with a billion personality. Stop a woman only want what a woman wants in the mindset of others. You can't, let me tell you, you're going to always have confusion in this world if you let a woman determine things of a how stuff should be run in a business and let a man that's why the business why it gets sued so much in the concept because you don't got other outlets of how everything is, right? And let me tell you something. Now say if I ever worked it at Walmart in a corporate office, a lady come, somebody that never worked with me before, and never been like, say if I was on the floor of some Walmart and the corporate office decided to say, and they saw me work. They came at 12, 16, and they came in 299. Trust me, I saw Walmart corporate office ladies. But the thing that they saw me, but they didn't see me work. They didn't see me for a day or two. They didn't get the chance to see my personality. They go off of what a manager say in their aspect. Why they don't get to know me. Why Digman Miller don't take that chance. And this is where business is at. CEOs that sitting up at the top that need to understand the concept of a worker, a concept of things to understanding. And Digman Miller never got the chance to know me. None of them never got the chance to understand me. So the concept of those things, it can't be always the managers. They have to get down and see. It's a bunch of CEOs. And this is the problem. Can they get down and see the potential of an employee? And that's the concept of what we're talking about here. If you go off with a mindset because they want to be bossy and not get the concept of a CEO that's at the top, how would you know? You need a different mindset and a different mindset of it. When I was having problems at Walmart, my number one thing, I had a ticket to work program guy go up there, and Charles said I couldn't do it, and the rest of them, because the mindset of the behavior of the conflict that everybody want to project what they want to project and bring you down. And when I met Charles, Charles already made a decision already by looking in my eyes. When we in orientation, you got 5 people on the left, 5 people on the right, and another person. I'm at the end, he at the end, and he's sitting behind another person. His mindset, the way he's looking at me with racial intent, is the concept of that can affect the whole business. But the stockers believe in me. But if you got a racist store manager that's infecting the poison out of everyone, that can be the conflict of everything. So I'm at one end of the table, he at the end, and he's telling every good thing, but he's looking at my eyes, laughing and smiling as a racist store manager. But I didn't have that with my coworkers. That influence can rub off on other people. And you got to get the concept of the narcissism and neglect of these people that's choosing the behavior to choose to be around it. And the main thing we have in a job, if we say something, a manager gonna say something to us in orientation, and we can't say nothing back and make our confidence feel like we low because they have a right to say something in orientation. Nobody should not have to feel like that. If I tell them why I did not get the position as a stalker at 2996 because Neo said something he wasn't supposed to say. It's the behavior. And that's all of them. I told them, like, come on. Like, nobody wants to deal with the concept of working with somebody like that, that making people feel uncomfortable. A woman, if you're talking about a relationship, that's not the problem. It's the concept of how the manipulation tactics can work. It's not just about women, it's about men, it's about others getting in that mindset head. A woman and a man got to know how to protect their mind, and a woman got to know how to protect it. But if you know it, it's always about if a woman don't know how to show a person attention, how can you know? And not just stop making it all about a woman and not about the man attention. But you let others, you're trying to so busy fit into their world, but the concept of it, and that's why they always lost with me because the concept and how they doing things. And Shotgun Wedding is so good right now. I'm in the thing when he's out the with J-Lo. The concept of it. You know, a man, I don't have that problem of a woman taking control and doing things to let me and just hear me out. But the concept of manipulation and other, that's the worst thing out of concept. It's the manipulation tactics that a woman is able to let another man do. I worked at 1216. I'm going to tell you something. I worked at 2996. And I used to be on the floor. and I don't have to be facing them. And let me tell you something. I could be going down this aisle. I could be on one aisle, and somebody could be walking down this aisle. We walking on the same aisle from each other, and we looking eye to eye, and I can see the face of Jessica manager, and he gonna tell me, he gonna, oh, you say I ain't friendly with everybody. He's giving me eye contact from the distance, and he's saying stuff on the low, mumbling his words, because he's not that talkative as a worker, and they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to communicate, and that's the problem that we have, the conflict. And the thing on it, you can't, a woman of a manager put you in a position of in a deli, but they don't want to acknowledge you, the conflict. And I'm sitting with Jessica, and let me tell you, I'm in the deli. Jessica and the other managers sit there, and the concept of those things, and they looking at this stand, but I'm the only one that's working and getting the dedication, but you want to acknowledge that treatment and abuse that treatment. And the more I do, let me tell you the concept, the more oh, they don't pay me enough, they don't do this enough. And Chris, the co-manager, Chris, sent me to do a job. He said, Hubert, I get you to do the job because I can trust you. So I did multiple jobs for the co-manager, and he said, Hubert, and he said, thank you, because I trust you to can do it. And I'm taking down something down the day. They come out, oh, you doing other people's jobs. They don't pay me enough. It's the principle of they taking your things for granted. The concept of, oh, and when they got you still come to work, you still do what you told. I was being intimidated on the scrubber of getting another job. So the concept of how people act, of when my manager's telling me to do something, and a Mexican intimidate, oh, they don't pay me enough. You doing other people's job. That's the concept of leadership that they can't see what's going on. But I'm the problem. And we tell Doug Miller and tell Justice Department, look at the camera when I worked there. And look at me on the scrubber when I was in the deli and I went, oh, intimidate, oh, you doing other people's job. Why the concept of other people, but you take the valuable player and your job and you take that for granted and you put behind your Jessica. And I'm gonna tell you, a guy in the meat department, he said, Hubert, you're a good person and I like the way you work. And this was after Jessica manager said what he said. And he said, Hubert, I like the way you work, you're a good person. Don't let them promise things. And Jessica did it. As she went back on her, she did it because she backing her manager up a bad leadership. The concept of those things. If I look at the, if you look at the concept of F at Trump talking to Doug Miller, right? If you look at the concept of seeing my good customer service sheet and how it's based on the employees of not doing their part. But the problem is, you wanna. The reason why I wrote up the conflict that was really happening, me doing other people's jobs and me going in different departments. That was the main conflict of the work environment that I had. Everybody's speaking negative. Sometimes you got a negative manager. Oh, you make me and make me sick coming to work. And then when I got rolled up, you still coming to work after what happened. It's negative leadership, not just from a woman. It's negative leadership, and the concept of things of what's going on in the way that we throw our energy at, and the things that we throw our energy at. And let me tell you, you got positive. Let me tell you something. I want to tell y'all something. It got Chris was positive. Another person was positive. And let me tell you, this cat, she said to us 16, he said, Hubert. He said, Hubert, you're gonna get your chance. In 2019, that bond with us wasn't. We used to always talk a lot, but when I got in there in 2019, our work relationship was kind of off. We didn't talk like we used to talk. We used to talk when I go to the cashier desk sometimes, even when I'm out there. We used to talk for hours. So it kind of been distance to not have that only talk for 5 minutes or 2 seconds and we can't carry the conversation on for a bit. And that can be the dangerous goal that I had when I was with the cashier that I work with. He work in the evening and the daytime. in the morning time that we don't have that bond anymore. That I'm not a coworker anymore. I'm just off the clock, and we're not talking as we used to talk. And he used to always say good things. And J Lo asked, if you have, who do you all want at your corporate? I would like him as a cashier at 1216. He's always there. He's always believing in me. Grizz retired. I would really like Grizz to be there if that was even possible. I would have loved Grizz to be there if I would have had a corporate office Walmart party. His leadership and this being not this being a worker, co-worker with me. I just think being a leader to guide me in the way he did, but without Charles even asking him, and he would just tell, oh, I need him, and Charles got tired. He's seeing some things that Greg's taking me to Home Depot. He taking me to the building. I'm talking to people across the street from 1216, and we go and build things together. And I'm having a great conversation with the women and everybody over there, and we just talking, and we having a great conversation at the 1216 building across the street while we build stuff together. And I'm taking and he showed me how to take the soap dispenser down. So when I was able to go to the other Walmart, I was able to redo things, paint things as Grizz told me to thing. I was able to go in a position that Grizz already told me, and I learned some things how to build stuff in Toys R Us. Miss Brittany in Louisville, and them taught me how to bend, and I was able to have that in Toys R Us before it closed down in Louisville. And I remember the guy said, Hubert, I'm trying to teach you something. And if he would have ever known that what he taught me worked, and when I first met Robert, he was scared. And all other managers that night was scared of how fast I'm stocking because they taught me somehow how to stock. And then we all learn in our different ways. And if it won't be from Miss Brittany and the people that worked at Louisville, I don't think I wouldn't have got this far. Just having the team of Louisville with me and Toys R Us, they closed down, but I never forget them for this. Um, and it closed down, and they called and asked me why I didn't show up. I was having problems. I didn't get the chance to answer. Social Security was giving me hard problems, and I was working part time. And the demand of me trying to get back on disability and doing all of those things, and I got through Ticket to Work program. It was kind of hard to maneuver the schedule because I was just talking to somebody on the Dart in 2019 in Dallas, and he was like, Hugh, but do rotation. Everybody need a train that can run all night and all day and do rotation. And nobody got a train that can do that to keep the business running. And until we figure out how we can maneuver the schedules and the bus and pay the Dart employee. And I talked about this. One of the guys that know me since I was a kid, he's always asking about this person because he dropped me off at Creefy when I go to summer school, and he's, hey, you got your book bag, you chilling by this person before you go to school. And he's a bus driver for the Dart of Dallas and Addison. So it is so me able to understand the format of those things, how can we understand it? It's the concept. It's the concept of it. But if another woman don't hear another person out, how can you do it? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm sitting outside the deli one day and I'm working. And I'm doing the produce and I'm working outside the deli. And I'm facing the opposite. I'm facing the opposite of looking inside the deli. And I'm looking at the 5 employees and at the new employees. And I'm looking at them. And you know what I say out loud when I'm working and I stop for 5 minutes? You know, Jessica should think before she hire people. And a customer popped up on me and said, Huber, you're right. We looking at the mindset of the employees. And something wasn't right about them. And we looking into the spirit. And people will try to break that connection because they only want their point of views to be heard and the concept of it. So the concept of us working and you're talking about these things, and you're talking about something that you should not be talking about, and the concept of manipulation, and the concept of it. And let me tell you something. I had no problem. You know what Rick said told me. You know what Ricky told me. He's a great manager. And he don't know I met him before, and he don't even know him because my stepdaddy and my brother stole something. And I met him before, and he don't even know. But he didn't. He just talked to me. He didn't really have my. And I met him way before we even started working together. That I know him as my support manager. He's still my support manager, even though he work in another department. And I met him plenty of time before when I didn't work there. When I was just a customer and I came in, and my stepdad still told my brother still told I met him plenty of times. So that wasn't my first time just working with him on the clock, meeting him. He had to deal with my oldest brother, he had to deal with my dad. So that's not the first time I met Ricky. And I wanted to go outside and push nobody offered me to go do it. I wanted to go do it anyway. And I went outside and said, "All right, this is Ricky. This is for Ricky. I don't care, man. I think I got more respect for Ricky now than I got respect for um 1216 Charles and them. And I don't care. I went out there and helped, and they made a problem with the other employees. I didn't care. I'm gonna go out there and push some cards. So, is a reason why if Charles, I would have walked away from Charles. So, I would have walked away from him. And I think that's the concept of this walking away from him. And see, I didn't do that with Ricky. I can get a misunderstanding with him. But I saw Shawnee and I'm like, hold up, what's going on with Shawnee? I really not have no problem with Shawnee. Shawnee was my manager, and the one of the things I wanted to stay in a Dallas. I wanted to stand my ground because it caused a conflict of me working. She said, "Hubert, you don't want to do that." I had to say, I wanted to stand my ground. So I didn't get the chance to stand my ground because by not me winning, by me standing my ground, they winning. And you have to understand that, like, come on, Shawnee, like, and I never had a problem with doing what she's saying to do. That never. Let me tell you, I want Jessica. I wanted, and if I go on the camera, I'm looking her straight in the eyes and on my phone, and I told her, if you don't teach me, I'ma sue you. We gave each other eye contact, and I'm looking at the phone. All right, if you gonna act unprofessional in how we are trying to learn from each other, and you gonna look me in my eyes, and she know we looked at each other in the eyes, and I told you that because the way that Chris acting, and we doing every orientation, and we doing what that is um putting putting the merchandise in and trying to make sure all the merchandise act up. And he watched me one time. If I get them to look in the deli with me and Chris in the department, man, he watched me one time. I watched him, he watched me, and he just wanted to give up. He just wanted to quit. And I told him, hold up right fast. We don't give up on it. Let's see where we were. I'm gonna look after you, and you gonna look. I'm gonna look after me, and I'm gonna look after, and you look after you. Jessica in the deli trying to manage everybody while his mindset doing what he's doing. So we looking at him while he's behaving wrong as a department manager, as Jessica department manager, and he's not having no type of leadership of what he's doing. So all of us stand at him, and like all of us stand at him, like we stand at him while we all Jessica is managing everybody while he sit and do what he does. Yes, me and Jessica had our differences. I'm not worried about who else gonna have their damn difference. You know how many times I had my differences at Walmart and me and Russell always talk back to each other. I'm not worried about that. He said, Hubert, in 2019, thanks for coming to settle this problem where you can start running real break with us. And if I tell Doug McMillan what Russell told me, what that is that offer still on the table of us handling our situations? Me and Russell, if that offer still on the table, when me and Russell worked out our problems. So if that offer, understanding that offer, can they be honest and break the bread? Other people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? So can we understand our concept of how we understand each other? Man, look, I'm gonna tell you, if I tell Dylan Miller, I want you to look at the camera when me and Chris worked there, and he's telling me, Hubert, I'm gonna give you a badge, and he's, I don't got no license, and he's telling Hubert, I don't care about that. I'm teaching you. I'm teaching Chris. That's what type of man that Chris was, and that's the type of leader that he was, and he carried, man. He carried that leadership as Chris. He carried it, and he said, Hubert. Sure. And ever since then, and the claim truck came at 2996 and came and talked to like, and when he was like, wait, Grizz, I lost my number. You know, Grizz, he be needing to break for me sometimes. That's just Grizz, guys. He be needing to break. I be getting on his nerves sometimes myself, and I understand that sometimes. And those things, and the confirmation with that was closed, right? So we have to understand the meaning of where we are coming from with that one, right? To understand it. So I don't have a problem listening to my team, listening to the things that I want to listen to. But if you're not willing to listen to the eyes of your coworker and your other coworker and take the team on your comment, when I work with Renee, every stocker wanted me to come, but Renee and Charles tried to stop that. It's not that you're trying to project your images on. Let me tell you, if I tell Desmond Miller, my first interview at 1216 was to be a greeter. And this is a true story. And I didn't get the job. I had to wait 5 more years. And they didn't even ask me the question that I needed to ask in the interview. How do you get out along with the outside community? What is your base? How do you interact with each other outside? They don't ask these things in the interview. If you're going to be a greeter, you need to know, not ask them just store questions and product questions. How is your outside influence with the world? I'm like, you're not asking me the questions of how to be a creator in that front door. So when you're asking me the questions that need to be asked, how can you get the potential that you expect these things to be? I like, she's not really trying to get to know more of my personality's perspective. She just sticking to the business question, but it's not at the front. You're interacting with the mindset, and you're about the products. You got to know how to make more of a conversation and understand the mindset of others. It is not about the merchandise, because a customer not just coming in for food. They coming in for electronics and products, and they want to know if you can build a relationship. So can we understand the concept? Yesterday I'm in Walmart, and I had a great conversation with everybody. And the greatest thing about those things, and other employee thing I learned, she said something smart, but I didn't really pay attention to that. She's acting, I'm not really paying attention to those things. If she really get to know me, we won't have that problem with each other. You wouldn't think wrong. And but she said something smart a little bit. But after that, I should not have to offer something. Why she didn't just talk? A person would stay quiet and be like, okay, okay, and bam, everybody not gonna want to. The main thing, everybody got a different mindset. Every mindset is selfish. They coming to get one product. They're not coming to get anything. But the people that you do talk to about tasting something, that can be the greater good out of them all, right? And that's the concept of it, right? So I was just telling the Whataburger employee, it got this girl that Princess, she had Whataburger at 1 or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock each morning. And I was telling, me and her used to talk. Whataburger got this jalapeno biscuits and the gravy. Sometimes you get the gravy. And me and her used to sit. When I'm off, and when I take my lunch about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I probably take it about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I get an hour lunch. And I go in there and we have a great conversation and we do stuff at Whataburger. The buying is pretty nice, me and the employees, and we get in that Whataburger. And that kind of affected because the way they just sit up in the break room and do nothing. And I'm going to Whataburger and I'm going to interact with the people at 1260 that buy the Whataburger. And they coming in there talking to me and they're making the employees, the co-workers jealous. So at night, so and my interaction with people is more the best relationship that you can have with a person. It starts outside with pushing a cart. It starts outside. That's the first thing that will create the relationship, not just about on the floor of a store. The best relationship with your customers is outside pushing a cart, getting the carts and be able to interact with them. And I love guys. I used to have fun. It's not all about that. I used to have fun out there building that relationship and just talking to people. I didn't always pay attention to myself. Hey, how you doing today? Can I help you with this basket? Can I do these things? Of where we going at? So I'm gonna tell you, the first start off before you go in there, it's great that I started off working outside at first because I had a great experience to just connect and talk every day to people and see the different faces and be able to talk when I'm outside and get some Gatorade and get some stuff and interact with things like that. So I'm having like, and that was the greatest thing about being out there in front of the floor. That was the greatest thing about being out there. And and sometimes I have my FM radios out there, and I would get it, and just, but I still gotta tune in, even though I'm pushing a cart and listen to them. I still gotta tune in. I still gotta watch my surroundings and be aware. You might have headphones on there, but you gotta be aware of everything that's going on, right? So those are the things with that format, right? So the best thing about these things, how can we understand it? So I loved the bond that I had out there pushing carts. I loved the time that I spent there. Oh man, I remember one night, they didn't leave me out, they didn't do me every time. I remember one night in the snow, it was snowing as hell, and everybody had a full of snow on the ground, had snow everywhere. It was snow everywhere, and Russell, Steve, everybody at the whole, we all pushing carts in the snow, and we like, hold up right there, man. I didn't bust my butt, and we all out in the cold, and it's about us just having that moment with each other. Everything wasn't bad. So the concept to be able to connect, and I just want them to keep their promise and stuff, man. I don't want the manipulation to be involved in this situation of working. So I gotta see how would this work out and the concept of it. You know, and I just want things to work out because people can change the perspective of things. So can we get the concept of we talking about the reason why? Nah, that's the concept of it. Let me tell you, we're gonna talk about. I don't mind waking up to a woman every night and being happy with her. If we at the conversation of it, I might bring my woman some coffee. I might wake up. I'm gonna get up before my woman each morning, and I'm gonna have to mess with her. I'm gonna have to do. We talking about those things. It's. Let me tell you, we gotta be able to talk to people. And let me tell you, I always understand my customer spirit needs. And they might though when I was working in the deli, I would see when I would go on a break or go somewhere to do something, I would see my customers looking at the corner of the eye at the product. But they if they don't see it, they're gonna keep coming. Your customer don't have to have their full eye on the product. They gonna look at the corner of the eye of the product. And they're gonna look at the corner of the eye of it. They're not gonna always have their eye on the product. They're gonna look at the corner. And if it's not there, and I would always go back there and look for the product. I would always go back there and look. Or and what that mean when I always go back there and look, or I go get my coworker out the bed. Let me go see if we got this. Let me go see. I'm understanding my customer. Let me tell you, the moment I'm in that deli and the moment I'm somewhere else, and if I'm in a deli, before my customer come up to me, I see their spirit before they walk in the deli. And I have to change my emotions. I have to change the aspect of everything that's going on here. And I gotta handle things of what the things that we talking about and do these things, right? So this subject gonna be about because he's talking and I'm giving my own perspective of it. And we have to understand how I felt when I was because I'm and this is another relation has to be in them cousin. Oh, I don't like the way y'all act. I don't like the way y'all do. You know, they care whatever other people think. And the concept of a woman need to understand the strength of others, man. All right, I'm also in the deli, and I'm also a guy. He didn't want me to help him with his meat one time. So after the first time, he wanted somebody else to do it. So, and let me tell you, um, and then every time I see him now, every time I see him now, I tell him the concept of me telling him, I'm get have a good day, mom. The concept I tell him every day, I tell him the concept of what I'm telling him, and I'm telling him the most important thing. The concept that I tell him what the goal is. That every time he come in the deli again, I tell him that let somebody else help. So every time I see this guy in the deli come back in the deli, I get one of my coworkers to help. I say I can't. He don't want me helping him because he's the familiar. So one day he comes up in there and say, I want him to do it. All right, you didn't want me to do it every time. The last time to understand it. That's why customers could be picky sometimes and how who they want to help them and how things is. So we can understand the concept of where we going here, right? So we got to understand that bond, right? We got to understand that concept of the domain of it. And it's never a man never want to be alone. a woman, but the concept of a woman understanding a man, that can be the biggest goal out of them all. That can be the biggest goal out of them all. There's people understanding that. So, this the concept of it.